All right, guys, it is Thursday. It's time for Total Bases. Like, we're just back here laughing, telling stories. All of a sudden, it's 9:01. We've got to get started. Bryan, Leonard, you know what that reminds me of a little bit right now? We're getting into clinching season in Major League Baseball. And over the next couple weeks, I don't agree with this. I think if you win your division and you want to throw a little party, that's fine. You're going to have teams throwing a party for making the last wild card spot. Trig, not a fan of that. I think you get 3 times that you should be allowed to celebrate: division, winning the pennant, winning the World Series. Yet you'll see champagne flying for like 5 or 6 times for some of these teams. Yesterday, the Cubbies were that team. They clinched their spot. Bryan, do you and Tokyo Brandon, feel free to chime in here as well. Is that a fade for you? Do you actively look to fade those types of teams the day after if they have a game?
I do, and I've told the story many times back when I was in Cleveland, and we haven't had a lot of success with the Indians back in Cleveland. And I had a friend that worked at a store, and he saw the starting catcher for the Indians in there, and he said, "Hey, why aren't you out partying with the other group?" And he says, "Oh man, we were out so late last night," and he goes, "I don't know how the hell anybody's going to be able to play the next day." Well, it turned out they had Chad Ogier on the mound. They had already sent him, I think it was a road game. They'd already sent him a day before, and he throws like his career game, and Cleveland ends up winning that game 1-0. And so the offense did nothing as you expected, but so you get good information, and then it doesn't always win. So, but yeah, it's something that I usually do try to fade.
Definitely. I mean, there's nothing more annoying than people. You're celebrating a playoff spot like you won the World Series. It's more annoying than a gender reveal party. I mean, it's so society's so stupid these days. Why are people so stupid? What happened? What happened?
I like to see, and it's just not baseball, but I like to see when a team clinches the series or whatever in the playoffs or whatever, and they just walk off the court. And it's just, that was their job. They got that done. That's the team I want to back the next time they play.
We'd never, ever see Larry Bird, Michael Jordan celebrating making the playoffs. Give me a break.
Yeah, listen, I'm all about, you want to do so, you want to pop champagne for a division title. I get it. But like, I mean, the Cubs are 5 games back in their division. Like, I know they made the playoffs, but I think that's kind of, I don't know. I think that's kind of a funny thing. But I do think, now, Bryan, I'll go back to you, and then we'll talk this Cubs-Reds game. How much do you feel like the Vegas has started to bake that into the number, or do you think they don't really pay attention and there's actual opportunity here?
Yeah, I don't think right now they're paying a whole lot of attention to baseball. I mean, you had your team that had to throw a 1-hitter through 9 innings and still end up losing. It was one of those days, but most of the guys, I think, had a pretty good day and pretty good handle on it. And baseball, to me, for the last 2 months, if you're not betting baseball, you're leaving money on the table. This is just the time to do it. And everybody's worried about football. There's football tonight. There's NFL. There's college football. And that should lead us to some pretty profitable day in baseball here.
Well, Bryan, I got to jump in real quick because I'm kind of kicking myself. I thought about firing the Reds out there and just listing action this morning. The Cubs, not exactly sure what they're going to do with their pitching, and this has moved quickly. So I may have missed the boat on Cubs Reds before I got on the show. So that was 15 minutes ago. The Reds were like minus 125. They are now minus 145. So in your opinion, is that the clinching tax that the market is now sort of moved to? And do you want any part of this game?
Well, it's also the need to win for Cincinnati, and they've got, at least in my opinion, the best pitcher on the team. Abbott's had a terrific season, but I think Green is the guy you want to call it on. So they've got their number 1 going against for the Cubs. It would probably be their number 5 or 6 in Colin Ray, but he's had a lot of success. He's impressed me on some of these games, and his career is not over yet. So I think that's what it is. A lot of people are looking at the starting pitching matchup, and it's clearly should be on Cincinnati here.
My turn?
Yep.
Bryan's up. Oh, okay. You ended abruptly, so I was You okay? Okay. Yeah, this generation, man, is so annoying, man. I'm sorry, but participation trophies and celebrating getting it's just so annoying. But yes, I think these teams are kind of up for a letdown after you clinch something and you're all excited and you do a ridiculous, non-necessary celebration. Agree with Brian. Hunter Green's probably the best pitcher on that team. Reds are still fighting. The problem I have with taking the Reds here is the Cubs have better numbers all around. Their bullpen's better and their hitting is better, but how will they perform today is another question. You know, God, I get these. All right, I got to find out which video. Can you hear that annoying voice in the background? Sorry about that.
Not really.
There's okay, good. I'll keep going.
That's
So
Marco
I'm
from
kind of
last night. He
hesitant.
had so much fun, he never left.
Yeah, Marco's still here. But no, these annoying autoplay videos are just so annoying when I pull up another tab. But anyways, so I'm kind of hesitant to take them. Looking at how Hunter Green performs against the Cubs will probably be a key to this, and he performs quite well. A 202 average against with a 784 OPS, not ideal, not terrible. He's definitely the better pitcher. I've got him ranked. How many spots? Oh, I've got him ranked 16 spots ahead of Colin Rea. But I have the Cubs bullpen and hitting better. The Reds bullpen somewhat reliable. I have them above 15, which means they're in current form better than average. So can they get it done today? I'm not sure. I'm probably not going to bet it.
Yeah, so I kind of looking at the schedule here. Obviously, the only way I would play this is the Reds. I'm a little annoyed that I missed the move, but the Cubs might not. I mean, the little celebration might have been more for show, might have been more for TV because they had to travel. So it's not like they were able to probably go out really last night. I mean, they had to. They had the day game in Pittsburgh. I think they, the more I think about it, they probably had the locker room set up, did a thing for Marquee Sports Network, which was what was shown on TV. They had to get out and go to Cincinnati. Like, do we think they just landed in Cincinnati and were like, let's go out? Probably not. They probably just went back to their hotels. And, so it might not be as impactful. Doesn't change my handicap. I mean, it's right there for the Reds. That being said, I feel like we've been saying this for a couple weeks now. Goes back to what something that Bryan has made a really good point. It's like when you're in the position that some of these teams are that they need to win, it's like you're there kind of for a reason, right? You're not that good in the first place. The Reds, I feel like, fit that description to a T. 76 and 76. They're a 500 team. They're as average as it gets. They should be better because of the raw talent in their roster and on the roster in their organization, but they're just not. They make mistakes, and I just think that like the Reds Cardinal series was a great sort of like illustration of that. On the right side of a timely hit in the first game, go out the next night, shut out, took no chance against Mike McGreevy, come back yesterday and win. So it's like I don't know that I would want to pay minus 150 to find out if which Reds team shows up here, even though in theory, like this should be like the home run spot for them. And you would think that you would get their best effort at home here. But man, I mean, I feel like we've said this all season with the Reds. So why lay an inflated number with them, I guess is the way I look at that one. All right, Ryan Morrison. Yeah, that was a tough result for me yesterday. If you told me I was going to get 9 innings of one hit ball from Brandon Pfaadt, I would have said, it's an easy win right there. And just wasn't to be. That was I kind of could feel it, coming when they couldn't get Carroll home in the 9th, less than 1 out or 1 out, man on third, 1 out, couldn't get him home in the 9th.
Carroll's got some wheels, man. That guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, I could do a whole show on how Torey Lovello didn't manage that the way I thought he should have. When you got that kind of speed back-to-back innings on third base, just get a bunt down. Jesus, a safety squeeze is going to win that game. Safety squeeze is going to win that game. It was a really bad result for the Diamondbacks. So I think, I mean, I think Arizona had some real momentum going into that game. And I think that likely cost them their season. That's another discussion maybe for another day, since we don't have Diamondbacks baseball today. But we do have the Giants, and the Giants, who I really felt like their season was going to be over had they lost that game yesterday, now have a little bit of life. They get the win. They hit the road. They had the rookies. The rookies were wearing Scooby-Doo onesies on the flight. That was rookie hazing. Scooby-Doo onesies on the flight. Kai Wei Tang in a Scooby-Doo onesie was a sight. If you go find that, I think someone on the Giants social media posted it. They now go to LA. Huge game here, Brian Leonard. Big rivalry, rematch of last week. Giants took the opener. Dodgers bounced back with the second two to take the series in San Francisco. Any juice left for the Giants? Do you think they are able to sort of parlay that into any success this weekend? And what about this game?
Yeah, they got the aces of both these teams, Webb and Yamamoto. Yamamoto basically about a 160 in this one, total of 7.5. That Dodgers starting rotation, regardless of who they throw out there right now, is on fire. This is the team, the Dodgers, the pitching staff that they'd wanted coming into the season, and they've had the injuries all year long. They are playing like the best team in baseball from a pitching standpoint right now. I still have some concerns about some of their lineup choices, but right now it's tough to go against the Dodgers. And as I mentioned, when they play their rivals, Arizona and San Diego and San Francisco, that's the time I want to play on the Dodgers. And getting them into 160 favorite, you don't often see Logan Webb catching 145 or higher on the way back, but he has really not pitched that well the second half of the season. Comes in with a 3.34 ERA, 3.72 expected, 1.26 whip, but his fastball velocity is only in the 23rd percentile, expected batting average 32nd. There is a few weaknesses on his card this year. If you take a look at his just the pitching, the stats off of that and how good they are, as opposed to Yamamoto, who, if it wasn't for Skeens, he would probably be the number one coming into the play, or coming into the season we're at right now. He's only got the 11-8 record, but he's got an outstanding 2.66 ERA, expected ERA 2.69, 0.98 whip. He's very good at just about everything he does, and he throws 6 pitches, so he's got that ability. I like both these pitchers here. I'm not enamored with either one of these offenses right now, although San Francisco has hit better as of late. But if you take a look at the last 14 days here in WRC Plus, Dodgers are number 5 at 121. San Francisco, which was really high earlier, just like a week ago, is now only 79. So the Giants are not hitting very well right now. I trust the Dodgers a little bit more, but maybe San Francisco team total under. Let's see what we get on that. We're looking at 3.5 under 35. Slight lean to that. It's still a pretty good hitter's park here, so probably not enough to get me involved in anything today.
Yeah, everyone, go to wagertalk.com and see what we are offering. I have a 4% play up in MLB, and if you check my Twitter X account, you can see the escapades that I had with Bryan and Marco yesterday. Actually, it's not really just one picture put up, but it's a cool picture, so go check it out. Also, these guys are going to have something up. If they don't already, go to wagertalk.com and at least click the free plays page, because all of our cappers put stuff up. There's probably 20 free plays up there right now. Regarding this game, my numbers emphatically say bet the Dodgers here. When I grade a team out or a matchup out, if one team is 10 better than the other, I'll go for them on the side. And I have Dodgers 7, Giants 19. So there's a 12 discrepancy here. The biggest thing for the Dodgers is their bullpen is finally not gacking every time they go out there. They're still not the most reliable bullpen. I have them ranked 14 out of 30 in current form, but I have the Giants ranked 28 in current form. So more reliable than the Giants currently. Dodgers are just crushing the ball right now. They're finally playing like they should have played from the beginning of the season, like Bryan said, the rotation is finally gelling together. If Dave Roberts wasn't the worst manager in all of baseball, they would have won yesterday or the day before yesterday as well when Ohtani got pulled with a no-hitter. So Dodgers are rolling right now, and the Giants are not. If you look at head-to-head matchups, Yamamoto has dominated these Giants, and Webb has gotten pretty crushed by these Dodgers, surprisingly. 229 at-bats against. He's got a 336 average against and a 939 OPS against these Dodger batters. That's terrible. Yamamoto against these Giants, 66 at-bats against, a 152 average, and a 506 OPS. So he's dominated these Giants batters. There's one red flag here with Yamamoto is he's actually a better road pitcher than a home pitcher. Why? He's even in Japan, he was a little bit, I don't say mentally weak, but he cracks under pressure sometimes. He's not like a DeGrom where he's got solid, never cracks under pressure. He's not that guy. He can crack under pressure, and I think the home games are a little more pressure for him, which is why he has a little bit better stats on the road. But that's not going to bother me here today. I'm going to take the Dodgers here. Probably a smaller play though, because taking the Dodgers can be a little, tense sometimes when that bullpen starts to come in. I mean, Trinan is pitching horrible right now. But there's other guys who are making up for it. So I think we can trust the Dodger bullpen more than the Giants here.
You brought up Dave Rock. Did you see Blake Snell just body him last night? He was just like, go back to the dugout. I'm going to keep pitching. Like Roberts came out to take Snell out, and Snell was just like, get out of here. I'm going to that's old school. You don't see that as much. You don't see that as much anymore. Remember when Mike Scioscia would try to come out and take John Lackey out, and he'd like throw an absolute fit on the mound, go in like huffing and puffing, like throwing stuff in the dugout. Like, but you just don't see that as much anymore. But yeah, Snell was just like, I'm good, sir. Like I'm going to take it from here. I got, and he did 12 strikeouts, 7 innings. He was great. Just not that many pitchers. I probably
would have thrown up if he took him out.
I think it's Scherzer when I think of that, because he's always been that way. You got to be a ballsy manager to take Matt Scherzer out of the game when he's pitching well.
Yeah, it's just there's not as many guys that I feel like you can, for the most part now, it's like pitchers get to the 6th, see the manager coming. It's like, I think of that George Kirby interview where the mindset is, I've done enough. I've done my job. I'm going to turn it over. And it's like some of these old school guys, it's like, no, like I got the ball. I'm feeling it. This is my game. So that was cool.
Dave Roberts is a moron.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I don't think he's a terrible coach, but because Dodgers and Yankees are similar. There's more like people like give Boone a hard time, but there's more to just coaching the team in those markets. And I think Roberts does an okay job. I mean, he's won championships, so you can't say he's that bad. But yeah, I've never loved him from an X's and O's standpoint. Back to this game.
He's the Angel Hernandez of managers.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been worse. But back to this game. The Giants, my opinion hasn't changed just because they took advantage of the backyard baseball rule where you get a ghost runner and then all hell breaks loose. So that's what happened to them in the Diamondbacks game. There was a stretch yesterday and today Tuesday into Wednesday. There was a stretch where the Giants went 11 innings without a hit. Okay. Brandon Pfaadt, I mean, he came through for me yesterday, unfortunately in a losing effort. Is not a great starting pitcher, and he shut that team down. And that's a team that's supposed to be better against right-handed pitching than left-handed pitching. So, like, just because the Giants sort of had a 5-run inning when they were aided by an extra base runner, and the fact that they got to do it against, what was it, John Curtis? Like, I mean, they still haven't hit for really the better part of this week. I don't really expect them to hit the Dodgers better pitching this weekend. So, I think the Giants are kind of still on borrowed time. I don't mind Webb, but I'm kind of with you that I think the Dodgers might put them out of their misery this weekend. And you may see the Dodgers really start to play good ball. This is the Dodgers, I think, starting to take off and go into the playoffs on a high note. So yeah, I'm with you, TB. I think it'd be Dodgers or pass for me. All right, let's go to where is that? I had Colin said Guards Tigers. He's leaning Guardians plus 1.5. I mean, I've done videos for this series all week. I've given out the Guardians every single time, and they have not disappointed. And I think Brian Leonard even may have had a client playing one of these games, maybe Monday or at some point. Oh, I think you put it in a parlay that hit on Monday. The Guardians have been great. Do you have any? I mean, yes, it's Tariq Skubal. Yes, the Tigers are getting to the point where they might need to win one of these because, you can't just get, you get swept here all of a sudden this game on the final week of the season. But that's still a pretty inflated number on the Tigers, who have not played good ball at all over the last sort of 3 weeks. 500 team at best. Are you going back to the well with your Guardians here today, Brian Leonard?
I had 5% on Cleveland the other day. I used the first half on Cleveland yesterday because I didn't want the back end of the Cleveland bullpen because they had been tired, and they're even in worse shape here. Yes, you have to lay $2 on Skubals, and if you're playing one of the recreational books, even more. Total 7 to the over 25 here, or 7.5 to the under. But if you are Detroit, and they're playing with very little effort. After they had the home run with 2 outs in the 9th 2 days ago, and then they blow it in the 10th, it's hard to back Detroit right now. I know what they're doing. The coach knows what you've talked about this a lot, Trig, about the way they're approaching these games and getting themselves ready because they had such a big lead. And I fully understand that. And I think they got one of the best, if not the best, coaches in Major League Baseball. But they are not playing well. And what happens here if Cleveland is able to get this victory? Skubal coming back, slight injury. He's supposed to be 100% back. From his standpoint, I don't think he would have come back unless he really is healthy. So I expect Skubal to have a big game here. But if Cleveland could cut this down to 3.5, and they still have more games in Cleveland against Detroit, you might see some panic out of the Tigers a little bit. So it's a very important game for both teams. Obviously, Cleveland's still 2.5 games out of the wild card. They probably got a better chance of winning the division at this point when you take a look at that, because they've got the games with Detroit ahead of them. But this is a very interesting game. And I talked about the situation here with Tanner Bybee. They moved both Williams and Bybee up an extra day to get the 2 better arms to play against Detroit. They moved Allen back, so he'll go up against Minnesota. But Bybee, 4.44 ERA, 3.72 expected, 1.24 WHIP. His strikeout rate, normally he strikes out at least 1 per inning. Last year it was even better. This year it's been down, but he has been a little bit better as of late. He's pitched better. His last time out, he was terrific. I believe that was the complete game he threw, and he was good. It wasn't an overabundance of pitches, so it's not like when the other gentleman, Williams, threw it that earlier that we could fade. But he does throw 6 pitches, and he's had a lot of success, and he is pitching well, and these Detroit bats not that impressive. Tariq Skubal, 2.26 ERA, 2.78 expected, 0.86 WHIP. He's been terrific. He's going to be your Cy Young winner in the American League. But there's 2 ways to look at this game. If Detroit is going to win a game, this will definitely be the best chance in this series. You got Skubal on the mound, and you've got, let me take a look at the bullpens, and that's the real key here. Detroit yesterday did not use any of their key guys. Now, they did throw a lot of innings in the bullpen, but it was Canley, it was Horn, it was Urquidy, Herter, and Paddock, all the back end guys. Holton, Melton, Montero, and Vest, none of them pitched yesterday. In fact, Melton hasn't pitched since last Saturday, and I really like him. I think he's going to be in the rotation next year for them. He's a really good pitcher. Take a look at what Cleveland has here. Let's look at the Guardians. I've never seen a bullpen as banged up from availability as I've had here. Luckily, they had Monday off, but Cade Smith has not pitched 4 of the last 5 days. I didn't think he'd be used yesterday, and he was, and luckily he was successful, but he will not pitch 3 days in a row. You've got Hunter Gaddis has pitched 3 of the last 5 days. You've got Sabrowski's pitched 2 days straight. You've got Festa 2 days straight and 3 of the last 4. You got Heron 2 days straight, 3 of the last 4. You got Jacob Junis 2 days straight. That leaves Zach Kent and Colby Allard, the only 2 guys who are going to be counted on for sure in tonight's game and today's game. Actually, I think it's a day game, but they haven't pitched in a week. So this entire bullpen has been misused, if you ask me, for the wins, and they're in real trouble. They need innings out of Bybee today. So there's 2 different ways to play this. It's not something that I have here in Vegas that I can play, but if you can get a really good number on, will Tanner Bybee get the victory here? I would use that as a hedge against Detroit winning this game, because I think Detroit will win it. I don't really want to lay $2, but if Bybee comes out and pitches as well as he did last time out, gives them a chance to win this where he can get the victory, I kind of like that. I don't want anything to do with the bullpen. What I'll probably end up doing, and I hate to go long here, but I really looked into this game. If Cleveland gets out to an early 1-0 lead, I'm coming all in on Detroit in this game live and probably try to get them at, minus 140 or less in this game. So that's the way I'm looking at it. It's one of the more interesting handicaps you will see on an entire card. And there's another one here that I think is pretty much similar, but you'll learn a lot out of watching this game today.
Guys, do us a favor, go to the replay and leave a comment for us. We read them all and we'll respond if it's a thoughtful comment. If you hate us, that's fine too. Let us know. We love to know when people hate us as well. I got a 4% play up today, so go to wagertalk.com and see what all of us have. Regarding this one, I'll take an injured Scooble over Tanner Bybee any day. I got Scooble ranked number 1 out of every major league pitcher out there. Tigers are still a better team than the Guardians, in my opinion. Tigers would be the only way I would go here. Regarding bullpens, yes, I think Cleveland's bullpen is better, but like Bryan said, they're a bit in shambles. If Scooble goes 7 innings, the bullpen's not going to make any difference anyway. Coming off an injury, they might not let him go that deep. So it may come into a factor, but when you're already up 6-0, I don't think it matters. So I think Detroit's the only way to go here. Don't overthink it. Take Scooble here.
Problem with Detroit, problem with all of that is it isn't just this last couple weeks. Detroit has not really played good ball since the Mariners series the week before the All-Star break. So this team got so far out into a lead that they took their foot off the gas going to the All-Star break. That's fine. Whatever. A lot of teams do that. Had 6 guys go to the All-Star game. Problem is they have not. I mean, you can go back to mid-July. This team's been like a 500. Not only have they been a 500 team, but they just haven't really played well. And then you talk about, yes, I think Hinch is mixing and matching. He's experimenting a little bit. They're what are they, like 3-7 over their last 10 games? Pretty much a 500 team the last few weeks. And I'll go back to what Bryan said. At this time of the year, it's tough to just like snap your fingers and like turn it on, start playing your best ball. Whereas the Guardians are playing their best ball. So yes, big time concern in the bullpen. I'm going to tell you what I think the Guardians should do, and I think you should keep an eye on this as we get closer to game time. So Austin Peterson is the best pitcher they have in AAA right now. They're as far as like young guys at AAA, he's been the best all year. He's been a starter, 1.14 ERA. He's been the most consistent sort of good starter for Columbus. Last Saturday, so this would have been, like Saturday, a week from Saturday, they decided to throw him out of the bullpen for the first time all year. Initially, when I saw them do that, I was interested in that. I was like, that was interesting. Didn't expect him to come out of the pen. I thought they did it because they needed to make room for John Means to make a rehab start. So that's another name. John Means is down there, but I did see they talked about Means. They want him to make one more rehab start before he is in line to come back. So you got 2 guys that they could use today. They could say the hell with the last rehab start and bring up Means, or they can go with Austin Peterson. Now, Peterson was on the list to start, and I saw they scratched him. So I think he was supposed to, he threw a couple innings out of the bullpen on Saturday. I think he was going to start yesterday, and then he didn't, or he was going to start today, and then it looks like it's Will Dion for Columbus. I'm just saying, if they were to bring him up, that would be an interesting option after Bybee, because he's very good. No one's ever heard of him. He's been their most consistent arm at AAA, and you start to see guys, you start to see teams do this sometimes. I'd be all about Guardians plus 1.5 if I saw a little tweet from the Guardians before the game saying they're calling up Austin Peterson, because that means they're going to say, forget the bullpen. We're going to go Bybee, and then we're going to give Peterson the rest of the game. And that's something I could get down with. So keep an eye on that. That would be the way in for the Guardians at plus 1.5, minus 115, minus 120. If you were to tell me I was going to get Bybee, Peterson, and the run, and be on the road, and have the better team playing, which is the Guardians, I think I'd sign up for that. It would be Guardians plus 1.5 for me. Brian, go ahead. Were you going to follow up to that?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about Peterson. Peterson is a right-hander. So if they do that, the problem with Cleveland is, yes, they can drop Herron, send him back down since he's pitched 3 of the last 4. He's still got 2 options left, but he's a lefty. I would rather see them bring up somebody who is a lefty.
Well, you'd rather see them bring up John Means. It would be much better to do Means, but I did see that the Guardians said they wanted him to make one more start at Columbus, probably because he hasn't been great, but he's already made four rehab starts. So you also have to wonder, do they just say the hell with it and are like, hey, can you give us 3 innings and we'll see how it goes? Because that's an option too.
I can understand that. Yep.
Interesting game. It's also going to be tough for them to make these moves because it's a day game. It's a 1:00 game, but I think Columbus is home. So it's like, it'd be easy to get them up to Detroit. That's an easy, they could decide now that they want to get someone from Columbus to Detroit and get them there by game time. So that'll be an interesting one to watch. That was a good discussion right there. And for Brian's sake, I'd love to see the Guardians win and really make this division interesting. That would be fun for the last week there. If suddenly the AL Central, which has been, I feel like has been done for months, would go into the last week with some meaning. All right, Titan CT says Mariners minus 118. Let's go back to Brian Leonard. I'm not a big Luis Castillo guy, but I don't hate the spot for the Mariners here. So we'll start with you, and then we'll go to TV, who cashed a nice winner with the Mariners earlier in this series as part of the parlay. Mariners Royals. How do you see this one?
Yeah, Castillo's going against Kolek, and Kolek's pitched really well since coming over from San Diego. He's been a real bright spot for Kansas City. We're getting Castillo about a 120 favorite, total of 9 to the over. When you're looking at Castillo on the season, no, his numbers have not been as good as they've been in the past. He's 32 years old now, pitching in his 9th season. He's got just short of 1,400 career innings. So he's starting to wear out a little bit. 3.76 ERA, 4.30 expected. In fact, you take a look at his last 4 years, he's been able to beat his expected ERA. Eventually that may come back to haunt him, but no, he's doing very well. But his extension's in the first percentile, hard hit rate in the 9th, barrel in the 14th. Something to really be concerned about. His walk rate is really the only thing he's done very well in this year. 75th percentile in walk rate, only 6.6, where league average is 8.4. He only throws 4 pitches, 4-seamer, 47% of the time. Not something I'm looking to back normally. Stephen Kolek, we've talked about him in the past with the Padres. I know that Trigg said he didn't think of him as a major league pitcher, but in 2 seasons, he's got an 8-5 record, 4.19 ERA, 1.3 WHIP. WHIP's a little high. Hard hit rate, 3rd percentile. Strikeout rate, 9th. Whiff, 5th. Average exit velocity, 7th. But as I said, he has seemed to have pitched very well for Kansas City when I've watched him, and I even watched again. I always try to watch, being a Cleveland fan, we watch every game. I try to watch the opposing team's broadcast. That way I get their opinions on their players as well as a fresh opinion on the Cleveland players. So that's something I've always done, whether it be listening to it on the radio or watching the games. But he's got 6 pitches. He throws from 7 to 27%. So I like a lot of what Kolek does, but a lot of his lack of success was in San Diego. He's pitched much better here. So if I'm going to play it, I would take Kansas City in this one just because I want to play against Castillo. And I think we're getting one team when players change. And we talked about this with Miami earlier in the season. When players change from one team to another, especially when you leave leagues and you go into a different league, the new team will do some work on them. And say what you want about Kansas City, they've got a lot of guys in this rotation, other than a couple of veterans that have been very good. But a lot of these younger guys have really pitched pretty well on the season. And you look at a bunch of them. Brigette, I believe, was just injured, but he had pitched very well. You know, a lot of these young guys, they've got a good judge of pitching, good pitching coaches there at Kansas City. So despite, there's a few times this week where I thought, well, they're out of it now. They're gonna, but no, they continue to play with a lot of heart. They're like Baltimore, and so I kind of like Kansas City here. It's one of the games I'm thinking about for my parlay handle here.
Yeah, I forgot to say thanks to Bryan for coming out to the Westgate Superbook to meet me yesterday. We had a good time hanging out, watching baseball together. So thanks, Bryan. Go to wagertalk.com, see what we have to offer. Check the free play page because I have something up already. I'm sure these guys will too. Regarding this one, Castillo used to be a stud. He used to be like Skubal, not quite as good, but he was one of those guys where you never bet against him. 8 innings shutout is what you could expect from him almost every start, but he's not that guy anymore. But he is a very, very elite innings eater. There are placeholders in MLB, but he's one of the elite ones. He eats innings very well. He's a little older now, so he's not the guy he used to be. He's got great stats against these batters in his career, a 207 average against and a 614 OPS against, but that's when he was elite, and he's not that anymore. So I don't expect him to perform that well here. But Kolek has had a bad history against these batters. Granted, the sample size is only 23 at-bats against, but he's allowed a 304 average and a 1,080 OPS. Not good. The good thing about Kolek, though, is his walk strikeout ratio is really good. He's got it under 30. He's got pretty good command, and I have him ranked slightly higher than Castillo currently in current form, just a couple points higher than Castillo. The thing is, the Mariners are just hot right now. They're just cranking right now. They got the best catcher in MLB, setting records, most home runs by a switch hitter, most home runs by a catcher. He's catching those records. I don't see how you could bet against Seattle right here. I certainly won't, because they're just so red hot right now, and their bullpen's playing well as well. Kansas City, I have them ranked kind of mediocre at everything. They're right around 50. They're right around 15 out of 30 at everything. So if they have a good game, they can win it. And if they don't have a good game, they won't. I know that's a lazy cap, but I don't see them breaking out here. I think Castillo can do a serviceable start here. And if they get a serviceable start from Castillo, I think it would be Seattle, but I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, I see it the same way. First of all, I see some people talking about the total in the comments. I think someone's getting crushed. Not sure who it is. When I look at these two sort of profiles, I look at how the teams have hit during the series. There's been a ton of runs the first 2 days. I know it could go the other way, but are Luis Castillo and Stephen Kolek gonna give you a pitcher's duel? I don't. My gut says no. Tokyo Brandon made a good point that I'll elaborate on. Stephen Kolek has not been good against this Mariners lineup. And I think the sample size is a little bit bigger than maybe that you have on your numbers, because Kolek was at El Paso, and El Paso and Tacoma play all the time. So there's probably quite a few guys in this Mariners lineup, depending on who's in the lineup today, that have seen him quite a bit. I believe he made one start this year against the Mariners with the Padres and got crushed. So yeah, I would say that the Mariners probably have a good matchup here. I wish it was someone I liked a little bit more than Castillo, because otherwise I could probably be on the Mariners in this spot. Castillo has, you're right, TB. He's a veteran. He's a pro. He's going to be prepared. He can probably get you through 5 or 6 innings, but there's a lot of like blue on the StatCast page, a lot of hard hit. It's just not someone I'm dying to back right now. And I think Colin makes a great point right here. The Mariners have a huge series coming up this weekend, a absolutely huge series. It doesn't mean this game isn't any more important than any of those, but I kind of see where Colin's coming from, where it's like, if they were to fall behind, they really can't afford to put themselves in a situation where they wouldn't have like their full complement of guys for that Astros series, which is essentially going to decide the division this weekend. So that's a really good point, something I didn't really think about going into my handicap of this. And I think it does make me like the Mariners a little bit less. Not that I don't think the Mariners can or even will win this game. I'm not high on Kolek. As Bryan said, I may have been a little bit out of pocket calling him a AAA pitcher. He's been better than that, but TB is right. They've had a big time. They've had success. This Mariners lineup has had success against him. And, that there is the potential look ahead of a 3-game series in Houston this weekend that is essentially going to decide the AL West. So very interesting game. I think I'd have to be on the over if I was going to play this one either way. Okay. We'll get a parlay going. I know no one's given out a play yet. We've got 18 minutes left. Don't worry. Still plenty of time to get the parlay in. Let's go back to the chat for a game. Well, I'll you know what? I'll give it out. I'm just going to give it out. I probably done this too much this week, but management hasn't yelled at me yet. So, I also, this one's moved a little bit. So I'd rather not even sell it and sell it at a worse number. So I'm going to go to my game. I'll just tell you right now, I played the Mets. I played Jonah Tong, 1 p.m. game. That's a client play. That I'm now not going to put up because it's moved a little bit off of what I bet it at earlier. But I will go to Bryan to get his thoughts first. Actually, both of you, because you're both going to get to go before me. Padres, Mets, agree or disagree with me, Bryan? I'm on the Mets today.
Yeah, we're looking at about a 140 right now on Tong in the Mets. And I'm glad you brought this one up because I have studied this game a little bit more than some of the others. I was really interested in why Tong has struggled and how these two pitchers match up. But basically, you're getting on about a 140 favorite, total of 9. And we don't have a producer for this show. All the other shows get all the bells and whistles. It's just the 3 of us. And unfortunately, I can't show like a StatCast page on anything here. But when I take a look at Vasquez and Tong, it's pretty interesting. Randy Vasquez is a guy that, for the most part, we've not really liked. He's been around 3 seasons. He's got a 4.03 ERA, high whip of 1.40. But if you take a look at his StatCast page, there's a lot of blue, no doubt about it. Barrel rate, 9th percentile, strikeout rate, 1st, whiff rate, 1st, expected ERA, 6th. But the one thing I want to point out about Randy Vasquez, and there are guys, and I just talked about it in a previous video or a previous game we talked about, Abbott's this way. Take a look at what his ERA is compared to his expected ERA in his 3 seasons. This year, his ERA is 1.8 runs lower than his expected. Last year, his ERA was 1.1 runs lower than his expected. In 2024, his ERA was 2.5 runs lower than he's expected. I, for one, look at his StatCast page and see all the blue, and this is a guy I tried to go against, and I said, look at his expected numbers. There's no way he can keep this up. Well, he's now thrown 259 innings in his major league career. He throws 7 different pitches, none of them over 25% of his pitches. Maybe it's to the point where Randy Vasquez, you got to admit, has found something out. We talked about the Reds being able to have all these fly ball pitchers in Cincinnati, and this year they're not giving up home runs. Maybe he's a guy that we find value in. 259 innings, that's a lot of innings. Jonah Tong comes in, 8.49 ERA, 1.71 WHIP, 5.39 expected ERA. What I got out of looking at Jonah Tong's Statcast page, and he's only thrown the 11 and 2/3 innings, so it's not really enough to get a good judge. But if you take a look at they've got a chart. I mean, if you go to the Savant page, if anybody's out there following along, it's got a movement profile, and he throws the ball basically straight above his head. There's very few people that do it. Now, when he does it, I think he's going to have a lot of success eventually. But if you take a look, and they've got a chart about where the league average in the strike zone, all these pitches are supposed to go for the league average. You take a look at him. His curveball right now is like, if you were looking at a clock, it'd be like between 6 and 7 p.m. It's more of a complete up and down break, whereas most curveballs are a little bit higher. So once he gets that into the zone a little bit more, and right now if he throws it in the zone, he'll have success. A lot of guys right now are just waiting on it. They're just spitting on it. They says, I'm not going to be able to hit that. I'm not doing it. His sliders in the league average range. His changeup and his four-seamer appear to rise, and they're higher in the strike zone. So what people are doing is they're spitting on the curve under the strike zone. They're spitting on his four-seamer and his changeup, which are higher in the zone, especially his four-seamer. And it's looking to rise, and they're just letting it go. They're sitting there right in the middle. They're waiting for the ball to come right in the middle of the strike zone, and he's trying to avoid that, and he's struggling in doing that. That's why his walk rate right now is at 12.7. Once he figures this all out, the sky's the limit on this guy. But right now, he's only got the 11 and 2/3 innings. He's trying to learn. Pay no attention to what's going on now. Look in the future. This guy could be fantastic in the future. I think there's value on both these pitchers in this game today. I kind of like the under, and I will use that as my play in the parlay. I know where you took the side. I'm going
That's
to play
okay.
the under.
It should let us do full game side, full game total should be fine.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use the Mets under 9, and you're getting them at minus 110.
Yeah, he does have a promising future. Promising future is good, but this game is today. So if you look at Randy Vasquez, in his last 6 starts, he's only given up more than 2 earned one time. He's pitching great. We've mentioned this on previous shows, but he's very lucky. He if there was an award for first and second base with no outs and get out of the inning clean, he would win the award, because he puts more guys on base with no outs and gets out of it more than anyone I've ever seen, even in Japan. So, yes, he's been lucky because he puts a lot of guys on base. But this lineup is playing well, and San Diego's bullpen is pitching well. I have San Diego more than 15 points higher than I have the Mets here. And then you add the starting pitching. Look, my numbers hate Randy Vasquez. My numbers have Randy Vasquez ranked 22 out of 30 on a curve of 30 for starting pitchers. So he's definitely in the bottom one-third of starting pitchers. But against this team, I think, my numbers hate him because his expected ERA is so high. When you put guys on first and second with no out every single inning, you're bound to get tagged eventually, but he doesn't. Somehow he gets out of it. He's like a MacGyver. Do you remember that 1980s TV show MacGyver? He gets out of every jam he's in. So it's not going to last forever. He's going to get tagged eventually, but I think San Diego has a huge advantage in bullpen. I think San Diego has a huge advantage in hitting. San Diego is one of those teams, though, whenever I back them, they lay an egg. I can't stand it, but I have no choice but to back him here because Tong, although maybe he has a great future ahead, I don't think his future is today.
So I want to point out that when I locked this in for clients, it was in like the minus 125 range. So obviously it's moved a little bit. It's part of the reason I'm willing to give it out here. I'll put it in the parlay. I would have put it up for sale. So you're going to get a free one if you want to take the little bit slightly worse number, but it's moved off the number of where I feel comfortable putting up a play for sale. So you get another free one here. Mets on the money line is a 4% play for me. Like I said, I think minus 127 was where I eventually locked it in, which wasn't even the best number. I think I kind of, had my eye on it, started to move. I said, I better get down now because I could see this actually really moving. So you actually could have probably got minus 120 a little bit earlier this morning or overnight. Here's the thing, here's what you have to realize. Just a couple things. So I follow the Mets affiliates very closely. They're in my area. So we've got Syracuse, half hour from where I live, Binghamton, 90 minutes or so from where I live. And so I kind of follow those teams closely because their area teams are easy to go see. And they've had some really good players this year. So it's like I've made more of an effort to keep up with them, get out to games, so on and so forth. Jonah Tong was the best pitcher in the minors this year, most of which would have occurred at Binghamton AA. And this is the reason that most teams do not just rush pitchers up to the big leagues, because in a perfect world, Tong gets 10, 12, 15 starts at AAA to sort of do what he's going to do, right? But in this scenario, the Mets were looking at their whole deal and saying, we got to see if any of these young guys can do it, because that's our only way to win a World Series. Remember, Mets, Mets fans, this organization, win a World Series. That's the goal this year. I know they're going to be a wild card team, but that's the goal. That's the only goal for this Mets team. What can we do to win a championship? The thing that they decided to do was bring all these young guys up, see if someone can do it. That someone's going to be Nolan McLean. Now, they're not giving up on Tong. Tong's going to be awesome. Yes, he struggled a little bit, but he's not going to have a long leash here. Do you think that the Mets are going to let him go out and get crushed again after he couldn't get out of the first inning against the Rangers? Absolutely not. So the one thing that the Mets have right now that a lot of these other organizations don't is they have a ton of pitching depth. It might not be they might not have a big time ace, or they might still be trying to figure out their starting rotation. They have pitchers for days. So what you're going to get here is one of two things. Either Tong's going to have it, he's going to make some adjustments, and he's going to be really good, or he's not, and he's going to be out after the first inning. What does that mean? Maybe it's Brandon Sproat. Maybe it's the next guy they call up. The point is, you're not going to have to worry about the Mets having good pitching here. They are now only a game and a half ahead of the Diamondbacks, 2 games ahead of the Reds, 2 games ahead of the Giants. They are in win this game mode more than they've been all season, and they didn't use any of the good bullpen arms yesterday. So I think it's a huge upside play. You're either going to get Tong, who's really good. If he's not good, he's out of there. And then you are going to see the Mets throw all the best bullpen arms because they need to win this game. That's why I like the Mets. Go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, Brandon Sproat's scheduled to start tomorrow, so it won't be Sproat, but I like both bullpen situations. As you mentioned, the Mets have used some of their guys yesterday, some of the back of the bullpen guys, but Diaz, Rogers, and Raley, none of them have pitched the last 3 days.
Yeah.
They will not. There's a lot of guys in the bullpen that are available today. I think that's going to help them. But also San Diego's, they did use 4 guys yesterday in the bullpen, their best 4 guys, but they hadn't pitched the 2 days before that. So all the bullpen arms, all the quality bullpen arms, and these are 2 teams that got very good bullpens, will be available in this one, which even makes my under 9 something I even like a little bit better.
Yeah, and I want to point, Turnbuckle Tommy made a great point. The Mets do have some really good left-handed bats. Vasquez struggles against lefties. And we've talked about this all year. Citi Field is a forgiving park. Where I've noticed, Tong, you were talking about where he misses, it's up. I even saw that in the start I went to go watch him. I sat right behind home plate in Syracuse. I turned to my father-in-law and I was like, he's missing up, and those fly balls are going to be homers in the big leagues. And he got away with 3 fly balls that were caught literally back to the wall in that Syracuse start. And so, but I think one of his starts was at Great American. This is a little bit more forgiving. So yeah, those are all things. Good point, Tommy. That's a good point about Vasquez. All right, we'll go to TB and have him propose a game, or let us know what he likes for the parlay, since we only got about 5 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Yankees here. This is one of those where you just don't overthink it and take the better pitcher here. I think, the Orioles are playing pretty well right now, but let's not forget the Yankees are playing really well. Surprisingly, because I was kind of down on the Yankees earlier, but they're playing quite well right now. Aside from the bullpen, they've had some bullpen blowups. Nuke Weaver's out there. He gets nuked every time they put him in. But they do have some good arms in the bullpen. The Orioles bullpen, mediocre at best. But the Orioles are not hitting. That's their problem right now. I got them ranked 24 out of 30 in current form. I like starting pitcher Max Fried. Not a lot of pitchers better than Max Fried. There are some, but not a lot. He's really good. I'm not a big Povich fan. I think the Yankees come out here and take care of business. It's not a play I would put out for clients on the money line, but for a parlay, I think this is a decent time to go with the Yankees here, even though they're on the road. Minus 200?
Minus 200. And I do have a question for you regarding Cade Povich. Do you have his numbers against the Yankees?
I can pull them up in just 1 second. If I remember correctly, they were not terrible and not great. It was kind of a meh kind of thing. Let me confirm that. 250 batting average against and a 1,024 OPS against in 28 at bats. So the OPS is high, the average is low, which tells you they're not crushing him a lot, but when they do hit him, it's either a double or a home run is what those numbers kind of tell me.
And that's what the Yankees do.
But that's how the Yankees play.
Yeah,
they live and die by the
play.
home run.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I'll take him here on the money line. Max Fried is an elite pitcher. He's had some rough patches, but I still have him as a top 10 MLB pitcher. He's not up there with Skubal and Skeens, but he's certainly up there with like a Christopher Sanchez in that realm. So I think starting pitching, huge advantage here, and I like the Yankees hitters better as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments. Collins like Yankees righties will hammer Povich. Turnbuckle Tommy likes the over. If they don't hit Povich, the Orioles have no one coming out of the bullpen today that they can't hit. The Yankees, they're probably going to fall. They're probably going to fall short in the division, but I don't think it means that you won't see them play hard the rest of the way. I think they're starting to sort of peak a little bit. I think they're going to go into the playoffs with some momentum. I like the way that they generally have liked the way that they've played in the month of September. I would not be at all surprised, to see them put a couple crooked numbers on the Orioles here. Orioles coming back from Chicago. They just swept. I mean, this is a team that's like, they definitely have played. I think they've played well for the last couple weeks as sort of like the spoiler, but this certainly feels like a spot where they're very overmatched. So I can't disagree with you there, TB. Brian, do you want to add anything to that one?
No, they're 6-4 of the last 10, winning 3 straight. I like the way Baltimore's playing right now, but I don't think the Povich matchup is good at all against the Yankees. So that
no,
I don't play big favorites, but yeah, this is one of them that would be the only side I would look at.
I mean, the Yankees are destroying lefties. They're crushing lefties. Like they've been very, very good against left-handed pitching all season. So what you're actually getting here probably is Yankees against Povich to like some absolute bum bullpen arms. So this is actually, I mean, they're on the road. This is one scenario where I think Yankees laying the -1.5 probably makes a lot of sense because it's only like -120. You're getting the full 9 at bats, and if they're hitting, they're probably going to win big. But yes, TB, I agree with you. Parlay, no big deal putting the -200 in there. And what
Yankees
that means
total is 5.5. So the books are onto it.
That probably gets there. Honestly, that's not a bad bet either.
Plus money too, like even money.
Yeah, but you're not sneaking by the bookmakers in this one. If you thought you could get a 4.5 here, nope.
a
Not
couple long
happening.
balls there, and the Yankees are dangerously close to just cashing that. And then the possibility that they tack on. I don't think the Orioles are going to bring anyone out of the bullpen here that can't give up a
Do they have?
give up a crooked number. So a lot of chances for
Yeah.
the Yankees to score in that game. Yeah, I agree. All right, parlay. So yeah, we have a 3-teamer. Bryan and I are going to go in the same game, but they're both full games, so all your books should allow that. I don't think there's any restrictions on parlaying full game side with the total. So we are going to go Mets, which I think is like minus 140 now, something like that. Under. So we got the Mets and then the under 9.5 in the same game. So Padres Mets under 9, right? Bryan,
Right.
under 9. Okay, so Bryan's on the under 9 Mets Padres. I'm on the Mets money line. And then hopefully we can get it done early. And then we're just chilling into Yankees money line later tonight for Tokyo Brandon. That parlay plays plus 390. That is the parlay of the day. It's 10 a.m., so we're done here for the day. If you missed any of the show, head on over to the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Check out the replay. Like and subscribe. Go ahead, TV.
Quick note. I know it's time, but right after this show, I'm putting my laptop in my bag and driving back to Arizona. So I will be listening to some of the games on the 5-hour drive. Nice to meet up with you, Bryan. Go to wagertalk.com and see what we have to offer today, especially the free pages play. Sorry to interrupt there.
No, that's okay. Safe travels there. As I've said before, that is a terrifying drive, beautiful drive, but very scary when you are driving through the desert for 2 hours with basically no cell service. No, yeah, it's tractor trailers going 80 coming down a hill on a 2-lane road. It's quite the drive, but the scenery's
this
awesome.
close to your car going the opposite way.
Yeah, it's
4-0s are beautiful.
for sure.
Lots of
Beautiful
4-0s
drive
on that,
though.
yeah.
So safe travels to TB, back to Arizona, and we'll be back tomorrow 9 a.m. to close out the week. Hopefully a little bit richer after we hit this parlay. But either way, we'll see you 9 a.m. Good luck today, everyone.